Why do you think it takes some people longer? What are the barriers keeping them from developing?
I know that the more stuck you are in a static mindset, trauma from growing up, that can be a big factor. If you grew up and you felt like you never had control over your life or your decisions, like everything was set for you, or you were constantly stuck, that negative feeling that can really bring you into a static mindset, and that can make it super difficult to grow. Because you don't feel like you're in charge of yourself. You feel like somebody else is making your decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I think the development comes out of trauma and hardship sometimes earlier
Yes,
as
it does.
well. And it's hard because in cases like this, you could have, depending on the person, the same sort of input, but opposite outputs. And they will attribute both of their outputs to the same input, but it's more complex than that.
Yeah, it's so when you look at people's childhood experiences, it's so interesting that two people can describe the same situation so differently. One person can say that I had a really difficult childhood and that made me take a responsibility and develop and grow myself. And one person said I had a really difficult childhood and therefore I was never able to learn to grow or take care of myself. And
Yeah.
it's uh, I think if you say that, I mean, you're completely fine to and valid to feel that way and to feel like, oh, everything was more difficult for me and everything was more hard for you. Fair enough, you can say that, but it's not going to help you. That's the big problem. Like, yeah, you can say and make all those conclusions that, yeah, because my life was super difficult, I never had a chance to grow or to improve or become the person I wanted to. But you can also recognize and think back, does this help me? Thinking about it like this, does this help me? Feeling like this, feel like this, that I'm doomed to this.
Yeah, it's a shifting of mindset. I'm just finding absolutely everything is ultimately coming back to mindset. And it's something that just annoys me a lot that I hear is a lack of taking accountability for yourself. Like you weren't the cause of this, of the abuse that you were subjected to, but that doesn't mean that you're not responsible for getting yourself out of it. I think that there's a lot of people, like maybe even the majority, but maybe I'm cynical, of people are trapped in their own hell and they don't try to claw their way out of it.
No, and
Yeah.
everyone has to really think about, okay, how can I get out of it? What way works for me? You can claw your way out of it, but you can also like ask for help. You can also seek, if you need it, a mental health professional, a therapist. You could also look at, okay, what small things can I do just right now? It can be as easy as cleaning a room or just doing your chores. Those very simple, practical
No,
things
I
you
love
can.
it. Very Jordan Peterson-esque. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
make your
It's
bed, clean your room, but it
yeah,
matters. Yes. Yeah.
it is
Don't get
because
overwhelmed by the mountain. Just like focus on the one step in front of you,
yeah,
which is
because so
very
many
cliche.
people, yeah, so many people they're looking at that mountain. Oh, I have so much I have to catch up with, so many things I have to do. But the only way to work through things is really to break them down into smaller parts.
Yeah, and ultimately that is the goal of like where I'm trying to take type matches, um, provide people with the tools and a path for understanding themselves and developing themselves so that they can have healthier relationships through being able to communicate who they are and what their needs in a relationship are. But of course, it's applicable to every facet of your
Yeah,
life. But people are trapped within a hell of their own relationships as well, because a lot of times, like your demons are going to be activated and come out in the context of a relationship.
yeah. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate. That's the young
Yes, that's
thing.
the most amazing
I
quote.
think Yeah, I think so many people, they go into relationships without knowing what they want, and not thinking about their needs. They think they, they just have to make it themselves or make the relationship work. And they're not even thinking about, okay, but what do I want to get out of it?
Yeah, and that's why I've been doing a lot of research and in time to work to integrate was it attachment theory? Are you familiar
Yeah,
with that?
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're studying general psychology as well. And that has been something so extremely valuable to me, as well as learning about the human needs and what different people's needs are and the hierarchy in which they fall in your life. Um, because it's said like, oh, communication is the most important thing in a relationship, but if you don't know yourself, what are you going to communicate? So that's
Yeah.
the first step.
Yeah, I think so too. I felt I always related the most to having like a secure attachment style, but even though I do, I still feel like there's so many things that I have to work through when it comes to relationships. And it's also a little bit what I'm noticing with attachment styles is you're kind of influenced by your partner's attachment style as well. It's like an
Uh-huh.
energy exchange in a sense, because often if your partner is very fearful or avoidant, you might find yourself more clingy or more codependent in a sense. Or if your partner is very dismissive, you might find yourself more withdrawing. It's noticing like how also you're
It
affected by
activates you.
each other's, because a relationship is like it's a shared space between both of you.
Yeah, and so you end up in this unhealthy dance of like push pull, and they're pulling away, so you're clinging harder, and then they pull away, and it's yeah, it's a hell to be in.
Yeah, it's like I know two fearful avoidants that are dating, and I hear their stories, and it's like it's like they take turns being the cat and the mouse.
Yeah, do they know that
Yeah,
they're
they
dating?
study it. They work
Okay,
through.
that's good. But yeah, I think that's an incredibly valuable tool for people, and I'm glad that it's becoming a more mainstream in terms of knowledge about it.
Yeah,
But
for sure. Are you providing resources also on attachment things through TypeMatch?
I'm going to be, yeah.
That's cool.
We have so many things coming down the line. Like we're on version 4 right now. Version 5 should be pushed out in a month or two. But that's going to be like maybe version 7 or 8. I'm thinking like down the line. We're not quite there yet with that one, but yeah,
It's funny.
I want to provide people resources for like not only the dating phase, but once they get into a relationship phase, because the ultimate goal of the app is to be a relationship app and focused on health of relationship rather than on number of dates. So we're quantifying success differently than other
That's really
apps.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I think it's more ethical.
for sure, it's also something I see more and more dating apps seem to be moving towards that, because it's like you can so easily get stuck in a Tinder bubble of just I don't know, feeding into people's need for dopamine and just
Yeah.
quick connections, and wanting to keep people on the app and wanting to keep people hooked constantly rather than getting people into relationships.
Yeah. And I mean, there's getting people into a relationship, but Hinge is like, not to throw shade on Hinge, but they're like designed to be deleted, and that's cool. Like you got somebody in a relationship and now they deleted the app, but what happens after that? Are they armed with the skills to make this relationship work,
Yeah.
or are they just going to end up back on your app in a few months? you know
Yeah, because the MBTI is really a great tool to use for dating. I don't tend to believe anymore that you should use the MBTI to date a specific partner, but I am learning that you can use the MBTI to better understand your partner and how they connect and how they communicate.
Yeah, it should ultimately be a tool of understanding and acceptance rather than of discrimination. So I'm trying to move it towards that realm.
Your personality is unique. It's hard to find someone that understands you. Try dating using personality type matching. Find out who you're compatible with using Myers-Briggs and Big 5 personality scores. Download TypeMatch and start dating by personality type compatibility today. TypeMatch, available on App Store and Play Store.